Peace family. This is Christina Victoria, and I am just a drive-in, and I wanted to just take a moment to send you all some love. I just stopped, by the way. Love and well wishes and peace. And a lot of y'all don't know me, and so I've been putting a couple videos just so you guys can kind of get to know me and my journey. And I wanted to explain why I say my little thing at the beginning of every video that says, wishing you all abundant life, love, joy, peace, and prosperity. But not only to you, but to your communities, to your loved ones, and even to your enemies. And so I've laughed because I get a lot of people love the blessing at the beginning. And but the only part that people have repeatedly a couple times commented is, well, you don't have to love your enemies, it's okay to hate, all these kind of things. And honestly, y'all can feel however you want to feel, right? I'm gonna feel how I feel. But there's so much hate in this world. Like, there's so much hate, like hate. Like, there's so much hate in this world, and people, it can be a cold world. And I say this from experience, y'all. Like, it can be a cold world, and I know what it's like to be out here and have nobody but your mama, nobody but your daddy, like having your back. Like, I know. And I know that I'm not always the nicest. Like, I'm not always, the most perfect person. I'm not saying I've never said mean things to people either, but that's just to say that I have a keen awareness of how, it can be a cold world out here,
GPS signal lost.
And I feel like there's not enough love in this world. There's not enough unity, there's not enough harmony. There's not enough peace. And, when I made this channel, it really is my small, I'm just one person. There's billions of us on this earth. But I was really thinking about, what do I want to be known for? What do I want my legacy to be? When I die, what do I want people to say about me? And what I want them to say is that I was uplifting, that I helped people, that I made them feel better about themselves, that I added some peace and love and joy into the world, And like, what better way to do that than to literally every video wish you abundance, life, love, joy, peace, and prosperity? That I'm not just out here selfishly for myself, but like, what can I give, that is beneficial or uplifting or something to, in my small little corner of the universe, add a little bit of joy, a little bit of smiles, a little bit of love, and especially as I talk about these really difficult topics. I want to talk about the political arena. Like, I used to be involved in, as I've told you guys, democratic politics. That's all I've ever done in politics. I've never worked for a Republican. I've never done anything like that. So I really am a true independent, and I really am someone who got out of the game years ago and really just was kind of like fed up with the whole political thing. And so I'm just now really starting to research again and get my head back in the game and figure out what's the landscape, what's really going on out here, because I haven't been paying attention. Like, I'm about to put my vote in, I do believe that my vote counts, my voice counts. And so especially as I talk about some of these harder topics, like politics, I think it's important to establish, at least from my end, right? Like, I can't control what anybody else does in this world. I learned that a long time ago. I'm old enough to know that. I can't control what you do. You can't control what I do. But I can't be mad and upset over what other people do. All that I can do is control myself. I can control my words. I can, control how I respond to things, and that's really all I can do. And from my little corner of the universe, especially talking about these political topics, the statement that I really want to make is, we can disagree, but can we disagree with some level of decorum? We can disagree, but we don't have to tear each other down. We can disagree, but can we let people vote based off of the merits of the argument as opposed to ad hominem attacks? We can disagree, but can we at least have that level of respect for the other human, right? These are humans that have a hard life just like we do, And that's really where I'm coming from. Like, I want this to be You know, I'm a very open-minded person, probably too open-minded for some of y'all, and probably not as open-minded for some of y'all. But, you know, I grew up Christian, and I've gone on a really epic, long journey of spiritual exploration. I've read spiritual texts from all over the world. You know, I've read Buddhist texts, I've read Tao Te Ching, I've read, you know, the Quran, I've read Upanishads, and I mean, truly, Egyptian texts. I mean, I've really made an intentional effort to open my mind to new things. I still identify as a Christian. I still believe in Christ, but you know, it's interesting because I know a lot of Christians don't like that, right? They want you to just only confess Christ and not even look anywhere else. You know, I'm that person that's like, well, what is it? What else is out there? I want to know. You know, I want to know for my own self. And so, for me, my journey has really been of exploration. Like, let me explore spirituality. Let me explore God. Let me explore the world and different perspectives and beliefs. You know, and I have a tremendous amount of respect, truly, for everyone, because I realized that all of us are doing the best that we can, and all of us do. It's interesting when you really get to know people, especially, you know, get to know, if you're a Christian, really getting to know a Muslim. If you're a Muslim, really getting to know a Jewish person, you know, and sitting down, not just getting to know them, sit down with them, have dinner with their family, go to their house, you know, and listen to them pray and listen to them talk about their faith and how God has helped them. You know, I've seen people, like, for example, as a Christian, I've seen people will say, like, you know, Allah is Satan, like all of that, like, you know, all these people in the Middle East want to go at each other and have this anger and hatred toward each other. And I'm like, you know, it's easy to say those things, right? It's easy to say those things when you stay in your silo and all the Christians can get together and be like, well, they're evil because they don't believe in Jesus. And I'm sure people of other religions can get together and be like, you know, they're evil because they don't believe in what we believe in. But if you really get to know individual people, and if you listen to, for example, like a Muslim talk about how God has changed their life, they'll talk about miracles. I've listened to yogis, you know, people who are, like, I know a lot of Christians hate yoga, which is something that I've practiced, you know, and have learned. And, you know, hearing yoga, if you listen to people who practice yoga pray, they pray too, you know. And I know we can argue back and forth about who they're praying to, and no, that's Satan, and no, that's that. You know, I'm not really caught up in all of that. You know, I'm really not. I'm not caught up in all of that. I used to be in a place where I was very hateful and had a lot of anger and had a lot of need to be right about things. I don't know if I feel that so much. Like, right now, I'm really in a place of wanting to explore and understand and look at different perspectives. And obviously, I have my opinions on things. I have my beliefs on things, but I really feel differently than I used to, and I'm really in a place of being receptive, if that makes sense. And that's why I make the videos in the way that I do, where I'm like, I'm not saying that I know all the answers. I'm opening myself up to new possibilities, you know. Having at one point thought that I knew everything, and now I'm like, well, what if the opposite is true? And I'm not saying that the opposite is true. It's just interesting exercise to explore that in a way that I think most people are afraid to even ask those questions, right? Like, you can explore everything and then come back to the same conclusion, right? I've explored all type of religions and came back to Christ, right? So it's like, but I think a lot of people have that fear of, like, of anyone exploring outside the box, you know. And, you know, I'm of the firm belief that it's beneficial for all of us to just step outside the box at least once, you know. Step outside your box. If you're a Republican, really get to know some Democrats and, like, listen to the merits of their argument, you know, because they're not stupid. Like, people aren't stupid, right? People don't believe the things they believe because they're dumb, you know. They have some logic to it, even if you don't agree with it, or even if it doesn't make sense to you. It does make sense to them, you know. Likewise, Democrats, like, you know, listen to a Republican. Listen to really why they feel that way. Are all Republicans racist? No, a lot of them really have reasonable reasons for believing the things that they do. As does everyone, right? Christians, Muslims, we could talk about anything, right? And right now, it just feels like the conversation is so toxic, and people are so mean and hateful and mean-spirited, and I don't really know what that's about. It's like, I can totally disagree with you completely, and be like, I think you're dead wrong. from what I know and believe, you are dead wrong, right? And at the same time, respect you and shake your hand and look you in the eyes and not call you bad names, you know. And it's like a lot of people, it's like we've lost that decorum, that ability to just disagree but be respectful, you know, not call someone outside of their name. Like, it's really bizarre. And it's like I honestly, I feel like when I make these videos talking about like we need to do better, I'm not just talking about the Black community. Like, I just happen to be Black, you know, so I mean, that's why I say that. But I mean, this is really for all of us. I feel like it's like we've allowed, it's one thing to relax, right? To relax, to chill, to kind of have that downtime. But it feels like as a society, all of us have collectively like allowed ourselves to really lose, I think, some level of decorum in class. That's the best way I can say it. Like, it feels like as a whole, we have lost some level of decorum in class as a society. And again, I'm not saying everyone needs to be like me at all, right? But I mean, I do wish that we were more respectful of each other. I do wish we were more loving of each other. I do wish we were more accepting of the fact that not everyone has to believe the same as you. It's okay. It's okay for you to vote up and down one ticket and for someone else to vote up and down another party, and that they're not dumb. You don't have to call them dumb. You don't have to call them stupid. You don't have to make fun of them. You don't have to call them names. You can just say, I accept that you have a different worldview. You grew up in a different situation. You have a different family. You have a different financial situation. You have all type of different things about you that cause you to feel that that's the best decision for you. And that's okay. You know, it's okay. You know, it's okay that I feel that I'm a Christian and that I love the Lord with all my heart. And that if someone feels that they're Muslim and that they access God in that way, okay. You know, and it's like some Christians, I feel like, you know, part of people don't understand why people don't like Christianity. It's sometimes it can be so judgmental that it's like it doesn't even give space for people to just, you know, explore their life and be who they are. You know, because it's like, I know that I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't had the space and the time and the freedom from my parents, that mental freedom to read other texts. Like, my mom introduced me to the books outside of the Bible, right? She's a pastor, you know, she was like, I think you should know this. That way you're not just having blind faith, but you've had the opportunity to explore, well, what does the Quran say? You know, why do they believe that? And have respect for them and have understanding of their faith. And at the same time, I still believe this. I think it's fine, you know? And so I come from a very open-minded place, a very free-minded place. And I feel that I've already broken out of the box that was given to me, right? There are some elements of the box I still hold on to, but I've already broken out of the box. Like, the box is broken for me. My box is totally broken. And I'm jailbroken. Like, I'm a jailbroken person, I feel like, you know, if that makes sense to some of you guys. And I just wanted to make this so you guys kind of have a sense of who I am and why I talk the way I do. Because I feel like I am really jailbroken in a lot of ways. And I have intentionally done that. You know, I have intentionally wanted to learn the opposite. I've intentionally wanted to learn things different and try different practices and see what merit there is, if any, right? Maybe there is no merit, but I'm that person that wanted to know from experience. What do y'all do? How do y'all pray? Teach me how to pray like a Muslim. You know, and I know some people would say that's so bad and will unfollow me for that, and that's fine. You know, this is really about, my channel is really about learning to think differently, to accept that we can love everyone, even our enemies, you know, and that we can have love and peace and joy, even if we're not all the same. You know, we don't all have to be the same for those things to exist, for those principles to exist. We can celebrate our diversity and celebrate our differences in religion and celebrate our differences in belief, you know? And as opposed to, like, even I feel like a lot of, you know, the left wants to kind of hate on Christians and try to, you know, certain Christians really do have deeply held beliefs, just like Muslims do, right? And will believe the Bible as what it says, you know, and we'll call them bigots and stuff for their beliefs. And I just feel like that's unfair. You know, it's unfair. If someone believes the Bible and believes what it says, they are entitled to have their faith. If someone believes in the Quran and wants to follow what it says, they're entitled to have that faith. If someone wants to be an atheist and wants to, you know, I guess not have any belief, like, I don't know, you know, they're entitled to do that. We're in America, you know, and it feels like this. It's like we have this energy right now in the country that is just so aggressive toward everyone. You know, if you don't believe what I believe, you're a bigot. If you don't believe what I believe, you're going to hell. If you don't believe what I believe, then blah blah blah. And it's like, you know, if someone wants to learn about Jesus Christ, I would love to talk to them about it, you know, and I have talked to some atheist friends. I'm not going to beat you over the head with it, you know, because there were so many years, and this is why I try to be really forthcoming and honest with my journey and my you know, struggles, and I will continue to be, because a lot of Christians, like I have lived what most people would call to be an alternative lifestyle for a long time, you know. I was smoking weed every day for a number of years as I was teaching yoga and out here, you know, just living my life. I've done all kind of different drugs and stuff over the years. You know, as of today, I'm super sober, and I love it. I love it here, right? It took me a couple of years to get to a place of being totally sober, and this is where I want to be, right? I had to kind of, for me, straighten up. You know, I had to, for me, you know, pull my act together in certain ways that, you know, I chose to do and that I felt convicted in my heart to do. And you know, there was nothing anyone could have told me when I was smoking weed every day to not do that. There's nothing you could have told me. There's nothing, you know. It's something that I had to come to on my own and have that conviction from my own heart, and that was really between me and God, you know, which is why it's like on some issues I really am liberal, where it's like, you know, because I'm someone who has gone my own way. I'm a very free person, you know. And I've also suffered the consequences of some of those things I've done, you know? And then I realized that and came back to Christ and was like, oh, this is why the Bible says not to do some of these things, because I learned from experience, you know? And I realized that I can't proselytize to anyone. I can't scream at anyone. I can't do any of that to make someone learn the lessons that they need to learn. Everyone needs to learn in their own time. So it's like on some things I am very liberal, where it's like, you know, let people live their life and explore the world. And, you know, at the same time, I think sometimes if we don't have the right information, we can hurt ourselves, you know, and if we don't have the right boundaries within which to explore, we can hurt ourselves, you know. And also as an entrepreneur, you know, I can be conservative. As a Christian, I can be conservative, you know. And so it's just interesting that I just feel like there's not so much freedom for people to just be a moderate or be an independent or be a whatever it is, you know. It's like we have to put everyone in a box. You have to be in this box or in that box or in that box or in that box, you know. What are your boxes? And I just feel like I've broken free from all the boxes, you know. Like, I mean, you know, it's just interesting. And so I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little talkity talk about who I really am and why I say the things I do, and why I wish you all peace, and why I wish peace to my enemies. I don't have any enemies as far as I'm concerned, you know. That's a state of mind to say you're, you know, these are my people and those are the enemies. You know, I don't even like to think in those terms anymore. But I say that because I know a lot of people do think in those terms still, or they do think of the us versus them mentality, or they do think that it's, you know, like I said, us versus them. And I just, I don't feel that way anymore, which is why I've been really intentional about saying the things that I say, which is wishing you, your loved ones, and even your enemies abundant life, love, joy, peace, and prosperity. But not only to you, but to those outside of your race, to those outside of your political party, and even to your enemies. And with that, I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Peace. I hope you get a bottle of Afro oil today. Body oil, King's oil, mouthwash, as well as beautiful meditation beads, LIVE, liveology.org. I love you guys.